I'm Allison Lowry, South Coast Repertory's hair and makeup supervisor. Today I am in my studio doing some work on some projects. My home studio is my second bedroom slash workroom, junk room, craft room, sewing room, and art room. Let me take you on a quick little tour of it. You can see here some of my mannequin, clothing, art supplies, paintings I'm working on, my coloring book collection, my sewing station. Here's a place where I can put my hair. You can see the beginnings of my Funko Pop collection and some of my artwork and toys. So now that you've seen my studio, I've got a couple of questions to help you get to know me a little bit better and to know and understand what my job is about. What does a hair and makeup supervisor do? My job is to work with the costume designers and the costume shop and the wig and makeup staff to create and determine what all of the hair and makeup looks are going to be for any individual show. Sometimes that does mean making wigs. A lot of times it means making wigs, but sometimes it also means arranging for actors to have their hair cut and colored. We deal with all sorts of makeup things. So we deal with things like tattoos and scars and blood and all sorts of things like that. And we will often teach the actors if they have special makeup that they need to do for a show. This comes up a lot with our TYA productions. We will teach them how to do the makeup as well. So it covers a pretty broad range of things. How does a wig get made and what materials do you use? We like to build a lot of our wigs from scratch here at SCR, and we use usually one of three types of hair. We use mostly human hair. Sometimes we also use synthetic hair, and then in special circumstances, which is usually when we need pure white hair, we use yak hair, which is hair from the yak, the animal. Human hair is great because it looks, of course, the most like human hair because that's what it is. But just like a human can have a bad hair day, a human hair wig can also have a bad hair day. Synthetic is great because we can get it in all the colors of the rainbow, and it stands up really well to things like dancing and sword fighting and lots of dramatic scenes. How does a wig get made? What we will often do is we will bring the actor in for a fitting, and in that fitting we will cover their head with saran wrap, and the saran wrap is clear so we can see through it, obviously. We then cover the saran wrap with tape. The tape holds the saran wrap in shape so that it molds to the actor's head. Then we can draw the actual hairline of the actor directly onto that plastic and tape tracing. We then take it off and put it onto a canvas head block, and then we use cotton batting to stuff out the head so that it exactly matches the shape and size of the actor that we're making the wig for. Then we take a process. So I have a wig here today that I'm in the middle of working on. It was going to be in our production of The Scarlet Letter, but now it's becoming a stock wig. And you can see that it's already had its head marked out. It's all stuffed out and shaped, and you can see I've been working on it. And what we do is we take this very small hook that you can see right here, and what we do, see if I can get close here, is thread this through this very fine mesh, and then we individually knot the hairs one at a time so that it looks like the hair is actually growing out of the skin. I'm just trying to see if I can get this close enough that you can actually see what's going on here. How did you train for your job? I was always really interested in wigs and makeup for theater the whole time I was in college. Before that, I was really into high school theater. I was the girl who did the makeup for all of the school plays. And once I got to college, they decided that I should add wigs because wigs and makeup go together. And I really liked it. So once I discovered that, I liked it that much, I went to grad school specifically for this. So yes, you can get a degree in this very thing. I have an MFA in wig and makeup design from the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. I spent 3 years in the program doing all sorts of makeup, every kind of makeup you can imagine. I did old age, fashion, character makeup, prosthetic makeup, special effects, blood and gore, everything you can possibly think of to train for this job so that I am ready to solve whatever problems are thrown at me. Tell us about the books you wrote. I have written 3 books. One book is a textbook about making wigs from scratch and all the various different ways you can make them, and facial hair and pieces and that sort of thing as well. And then I just recently completed the 2nd edition of my historical wig styling books. Here they are. This is a 2-volume set about historical hairstyles. And the book kind of goes through each individual period in history, the major fashion periods in Western history. And then there's research in there, and then there are step-by-step pictures for how to create different hairstyles from different eras in history. What is the most incredible or outlandish project you've ever worked on? I've done a lot of strange projects in my life. I have been lucky enough to do Sondheim's musical Into the Woods 3 times, and each of the 3 times I have approached the Rapunzel wig in a different way. The most recent time that I did the Rapunzel wig, which you can see a picture of here, I actually made it out of a combination of hair and this old beautiful gold rope that we had just had laying around the theater. So I spent an incredibly long amount of time unraveling rope, and it had this really beautiful wavy texture after it was unraveled, which you can see in the photo. And it was this long glamorous thing, and because we had so much of this rope, we were able to attach it to the set, and it could be climbed, and we could do all sorts of things to make this beautiful hair as yellow as corn. What are you working on right now? The wig that I just showed you earlier that will go into our stock. The more good quality wigs that we have in our stock, the better able we are to meet any needs that an individual production might have. So we're constantly working on updating our stock. I have also been making lots of masks for medical professionals. Here's some that you can see that I've been working on. So we definitely want to do our part to help out. And then I'm also constantly working on projects and things for next year, for next season, where we'll be doing things like reading the plays, doing the breakdowns, and trying to figure out and estimate the budgets and the needs and everything, and then that every show will need individually. If you weren't a theater pro, what occupation would you have and why? I think I would probably be a photographer. I do this as a hobby. I do portrait, fashion, fantasy, otherworldly photography. I love to do things where I get to create different worlds in camera, in Photoshop, with makeup and costumes and elaborate hair. Any recommendations for reading, viewing, or activities for us during the stay-at-home order? I always gravitate towards doing art. So I have this whole room full of stuff to play with, so I spend a lot of time doing art. One really great thing to do if you don't feel super comfortable with drawing or painting from scratch, I love to color. So here is my giant stand of coloring books, all different themes, varying in difficulty. I love to sit and do this, and I can do this for hours at a time. Thank you for watching Meet a Theater Pro. I'm Allison Lowry, SCR's Hair and Makeup Supervisor.